Welcome to the Kim B. Davis Show. Here we'll talk to the leaders in technology, culture, business, and the arts. We'll cover politics, advocacy, motherhood, writing, mental health, and mostly we'll focus on hope. Join Kim B. Davis, author, playwright, radio personality, event consultant, professional speaker on the Kim B. Davis Show. Good evening and welcome to the Kim B. Davis Show. I'm your host, Kim B. Davis, and this evening we have Mr. Eric Harp, our certified professional fitness trainer. He is here with us tonight, and we're going to be talking about fitness with couples. Good evening, Mr. Harp. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. How are you tonight?
I'm great. So, we always have to talk politics before we get to our fitness,
Okay.
section. So, we saw what happened on January 6th. And then there was this thing called an impeachment trial, which was the second one for President Trump.
We had an impeachment trial?
Yeah. Did you miss that?
I guess so. Okay. All right. Call
That's
that
what,
a trial?
well, that's a
Well,
layman's
yeah,
term.
the first few days was beginning to look like a trial.
It
Yeah.
was. It was. It really was an impeachment hearing. And the House managers on the Democrat side, I thought, did an outstanding job of presenting the cases, of showing the correlation between tweets and speeches and different activities that had happened leading up to the election and then even after. So when I saw,
Timeline.
yes, the timeline was laid out very well. And then I saw the president's legal team, former President Trump, his legal team come in. And I don't know if you saw it, but they did a montage of maybe
The um unconstitutional. That's all
yes,
they could. Okay.
yes, but if you saw the montage, and I was offended by it, I understood what they were trying to say, but it was like 3 to 5 minutes of hearing the word, we have to fight or fight. And they pulled out every Democrat from any speech anywhere that had been given that they could find. They pulled out Hillary Clinton, we have to fight. Michelle Obama, we have to fight. Bernie Sanders, we have to fight. I was just like, is there anybody that you didn't pull? It reminded me of the Die Hard movie where they put all those presidential clips together to make a speech. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like a movie, uh, uh, something that they were putting together to prove their point. And if you haven't been following it, and if you truly believe that President Trump had nothing to do with it, then you probably said, yeah, look at the language that they use. The reality is when you listen to the speech in the context and in how it's given, that was not a proclamation to anyone to go out and do anything violent. It was simply saying, go vote, go grab your neighbor, go organize, understand what the issues are in your community so that we can elect people that will represent us. So, share your thoughts on the impeachment.
Right. Well, first, let's just the English language. This guy is not this 45th president was not the master of the English language
Correct.
ever.
Right.
So for anyone to step in and try to help interpret anything other than what he says is plain as he can make it. Listen, fight is a verb. You can argue and fight with your words. You can fight with your looks. You can fight with your hands. There's a whole lot of ways to fight. What those people did at the Capitol was unmistakable. Now, you just asked if about people believing. Believe, believe, believe. I can't believe what people believe. Um, to stop the steal. That whole campaign, that whole notion of s- stop the steal of an election. Um, But Mr. Davis, to get through all the confusion, this happened in plain sight. Everybody across the world was able to watch and see what happened unfold live on television. But the biggest brainwash is this crazy media, the word media, the scapegoat media. Just
Mm-hmm.
because it was shown on television, now all of a sudden it's the media, and you can't believe it. So some idiot congressman, I think his name was Ron Johnson, let's call him who he is, got up and said it didn't happen. It was
Yes,
Antifa who did it.
yes, I heard that.
And then he turned around and said that it wasn't an armed insurrection.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even an armed. They weren't armed. And if you call that armed, I was like, what? He's saying that he wasn't scared and no one else should have been scared because it wasn't that bad. I mean, what are we coming to? What are we coming to? So um, I forget what the vote was, 57 to 46.
Yeah, something like that.
They needed 10 more people in order to remove this guy, or not remove him. He's already gone from office. So getting caught in the technicality of removing or disqualifying and then saying that it wasn't even legitimate because you can't remove someone who's already gone from office.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's caught up on technicalities and wordplay. We all watched it unfold, and we all watched and listened to this man tell a group of people to go down to the Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
And once they got down to the Capitol, did what they did. So now the driver of the car is arrested for the crime that the people in the back seat got out and did. Isn't that how it works?
Typically, if you're an
So,
accomplice, yes.
so he's an accomplice.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's just beyond words. But its damage is done. He's acquitted. The Republican Party is in shambles. These these men have to live with their fallen legacies. And one more thing before I turn into a rant.
It's
Mitch
okay.
McConnell. Mitch
Yes.
McConnell. Mitch McConnell,
Mm-hmm.
the minority leader of the Senate, the head of the Senate for the longest,
Mm-hmm.
contradicted himself by admitting that he was guilty,
Yes, he did.
voting to acquit.
Mm-hmm.
That's and if you heard what happened today, Donald Trump got all into Twitter and in his news sources and said Mitch McConnell's weak. That
Yes.
Mitch McConnell doesn't have the heart to do what's necessary. And he'll support, and Donald Trump will do whatever he can to support whoever runs against Mitch McConnell.
Mm-hmm.
So loyalty doesn't go too far with Donald Trump.
It really doesn't. And you know what's funny? Because you brought up Mitch McConnell. And when you listen to the speech, he excoriated Donald Trump. And I was just like, wow. So on one hand, you say that he's responsible, but on the other hand, you won't convict him because although Donald Trump has been impeached twice, what needed to happen with the 10 additional Republicans, they needed to be able to have that support so they could convict him. And then he wouldn't be inflicted upon us again in 2024. And as
Well,
I keep telling people, he's going to come back. There, Mike Pence has said he wants to come back. And Mike Pence, I feel bad for him because here is someone who was a team player. I understand. He was a team player, and your boss literally egged people on to murder you. Let's call it what it is, because those people said, let's hang Mike Pence.
they sure did.
They put up a gallows. And when I watched, I don't know how much of the impeachment that you watched,
I'm
but
sorry. I'm
it's
sorry.
okay.
I had to laugh. How long does it take to build those things?
Exactly. Did it come ready made? These are
Did it,
all questions
did
that
it,
I
did
had.
it come ready made and it was like in a starter kit? You just like
Right.
unfold it and It
Like,
hangs 30 feet in the air. How do we do that?
but that's what you see when you see the House managers on the Democrat side. When they show you the security video from inside the people's house and you see where people were coming from and you hear the chanting. I'll tell you the most chilling part for me when they showed the staffers for Nancy Pelosi and how literally they were running to a room and had to barricade. Yes, and having been a staffer for a elected official, you often travel and do and go different places.
I
You
remember
are
those days.
exactly, you are an extension of that person. And seeing now that they had, especially from hearing the Capitol police officers calling for backup, saying that they were taking on fire, that they had fireworks and that they had pipe bombs and that they had bear spray and all these different things. And the eerie chanting when they were calling for Nancy. And when I heard it, the first thing I thought of, I said, this sounds like a horror movie. This is what serial killers and stalkers do in movies. You know, we sit and we watch them and we talk, girl, don't go in that room. He's in there. He's looking for you. That's what it felt like watching this. And when you see the staffers run into the room seconds before the people burst through, I thought, wow, how much worse could this have been? And how incredibly dangerous this was for everybody. Congressman Swalwell, who's a Democrat from California, gave an impassioned speech a couple weeks ago. And he said, you know, Democrats, we thought about it. Let's run to the Republican side. We'll all try to blend in. And he said, unfortunately, though, my colleagues who are of color cannot blend in. And he said it was the first time that he understood what that felt like and what it meant to stand out and how that could be a threat to your life. And I said, exactly. And when you said the Congressman Johnson, who said, this didn't happen, that was fake. It was Antifa and all of this. And I thought, but we all have the videotape. So what are you talking about? And if this is cognitive dissonance or any of those psychological terms where you can just, you know, sweep something away and say it didn't
Bruh,
happen, well, then
bruh,
I guess we're all seeing pink elephants on the street corner because, you know, I
bruh.
know what I saw.
It makes it easier to believe that Israel is responsible for lasers starting
Yes.
fires in California. Makes
Right.
it easier to believe that. Makes it easier to believe that aliens are coming from another planet and inhabiting other people's. I mean,
Body.
whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, just the level of stupidity that comes from these elected officials. And I'm not trying to lump all elected officials into any one category, but stupid is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid is as stupid does.
Mm-hmm.
And it just amazes me on the power grab and what people do to hold on to power. And I remember a song. You remember when we were young and there was a what people do
Yes.
for money?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, and wow.
And
What
it's
people
crazy.
do for power.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
To go against your morals, to sell your soul, and to watch it unfold. To
Mm-hmm.
watch people sell themselves, their souls, watch it unfold. To vote not guilty for something that they all know, admittedly,
Mm-hmm.
that this
Mm-hmm.
man was guilty of, but because those, what do we call them, insurrectionists,
Mm-hmm.
um, the never, or now, well, excuse me, the Trump supporters
Mm-hmm.
have turned into American terrorists. You
Yes,
know, the
absolutely.
red the red hat is the new white hood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
To see all of those, now from my point of view, when I watch it on television, to see all of those red hats, red baseball hats,
Mm-hmm.
to see the paramilitary groups come in and holding each other in single file line, arm, arm on shoulder, tapping each other and giving hand signals and directions and as they're moving through the crowds. And how could you not say that this was not organized? How could you not admit that this was organized?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You just mentioned
And
about the gallows. That would have taken time. So that meant there was a coordinated response. And I'm assuming somebody said, you bring this part, we'll bring this part, we got it.
who's got the drill? Who's got the hammer? Who's got
Right,
the nails?
exactly.
The lumber,
Mm-hmm.
the the what the you know the brackets, all
Mm-hmm.
of the different things that you would have to have in order to build that,
Mm-hmm.
in order uh, to pull off an attempt on the vice president's life,
Yes.
or the speaker of the house,
Mm-hmm.
or whomever,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the black Democrats who would
Mm-hmm.
not be able to blend in on the Republican side,
Mm-hmm.
whomever they
Five.
would have been able to get to.
Mm-hmm.
How would they have known a staffer from a representative?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
What bothers me? What bothers me? Um, we have a constitution. Nobody reads it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Bill of Rights.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody reads them. They just hang on. When I say they, certain people just hang on to certain ones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Second Amendment.
you said I couldn't say that? Well, I have the right to say whatever I want. That's called freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's that Second Amendment.
Yep.
It's that Second Amendment that nobody seems to really understand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now having the right to bear arms, there's a little bit more to that.
Yes, it is.
Now, just in case someone's trying to overthrow the government, or you're protecting yourself from government tyranny, you have the right to bear arms.
Mm-hmm.
But now we have people who feel that they have the right to carry a gun, or to carry a firearm, or to carry a weapon, or to have one close by, or this is my right. And then they make these shirts and flags that say, come take it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Come take it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I dare you to come and take my gun.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not what the right to bear arms is.
Exactly.
And so now what we've done is this particular attitude, and mixed in with our freedom, that freedom. And as Eric Swalwell, I wish more people would understand that freedom ain't free.
It's that.
Freedom is not free.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, many of our American attitudes, and that arrogance of our Americanism,
Mm-hmm.
um, that, you know, looking gift horse in the mouth, be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it.
Yeah.
You know, we as a whole are very ungrateful. But, and the last thing I'll say on this, because I know I've done what I didn't want to do, and I turned it into a rant.
It's okay.
So, um, the divide has always been there.
Mm-hmm.
Many people who are on the wrong side of the divide have been complaining about it for years. We use all kind of words. Many of us use systemic racism, systemic sexism, whatever it may be on the other side of the us. Because
Mm-hmm.
there's the us and the them.
That's right.
And for those who have never been part of the us, understand.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the us's, in their arrogance, will find that downfall.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, this is it. This is what Malcolm X said: the chicken's coming home to roost.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is it. This is America turning on itself. This is America eating itself. And it's gonna be tough to come back from this one.
Well said. So, in addition to that, because you mentioned guns, and so I've got to talk about Congresswoman Green, who's been
Yes.
going around saying that Sandy Hook and Parkland shooting, all these things are fake and haven't happened. And, I've heard other people say that. And thankfully, I have not had to experience that. You haven't had to experience that. But as a parent, it offends me that someone else would try to take away someone's pain when their child has been lost. Their child is dead. That child cannot come back. This isn't a movie. You know, um, there's no faking this. And people are trying to say, well, it's just the government or whatever it is, some shady group that's going to come in and take everybody's guns. And as you were mentioning about the Second Amendment, yes, you do have a right to bear arms, but do you have a right to bear a machine gun that shoots out 50 bullets in a second as a homeowner? There are some things that I'm like, okay, let's rationally think about this. If you tell me I'm trying to protect my home, I'm trying to protect my property, I'm protecting myself, that's not what you necessarily need is a machine gun. I don't think. And I'm just picking on machine guns because it seems so out of what the norm is. That's a military grade weapon.
I smiled just a moment ago, and I mean, this is no laughing matter, but it just reminded me of that line in Crocodile Dundee. He said, "That's not a knife. This is
This
a
is
knife."
yes, exactly.
So a pistol is like, that's not a gun.
Right.
This is a gun.
Yes.
What do you need a machine gun for?
Right.
What does anybody need a machine gun for? Now, myself, as well as you,
Mm-hmm.
um, no, listen, make no mistake about it. We came up in the city in an
Mm-hmm.
era where gunplay was a mainstay,
Mm-hmm.
where a school shooting wasn't necessarily coming from someone on the outside of the school. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so um, guns have always been a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Guns are reckless. Guns are weapons. Having weapons, I know in a perfect world, you'd like everyone to be responsible and only to use it, only to pull down that fire alarm when it's really a fire. Only
Mm-hmm.
pull out the weapon when it's time to use it, but you have anger issues. Let's solve it with the gun.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's so many, bad things that could go wrong with the
Mm-hmm.
gun,
Mm-hmm.
and for someone like her to minimize the effects that any of those parents and families went through, and then to stand behind that First Amendment and say that she has a right to say it,
Mm-hmm.
and then to watch the elected officials stand behind her and say that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But anybody who voted against this 45th president, you guys not only need to be censured, you need to be voted off your committees.
Yes.
Um, Representative Adam Kinzinger's family sent him a personal letter and said that he's following the devil and went against God,
I heard that. Very
and
sad.
has brought shame to his family's name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's deep.
Mm-hmm.
This is deep, and people's beliefs, people's ideologies, fairy tales. Everything is now coming to one, and there's reality is skewed, and then our lives are played out on television. Our lives are played out on the phone cameras. Our lives are played out on the internet, and
Mm-hmm.
yet many of us are complaining that it's the media that we need to stay away from because the media is controlling us,
Mm-hmm.
and are watching the same newscast, watching the same TV shows, um, and every day you're going to hear about some personality that's just got caught up in something.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the Bachelor host just got caught up in a racially sensitive moment. Uh, Taking pictures in antebellum dress with looking like a slave owner.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so these current events there's just something always happening, and unfortunately, it always comes down to race. Oh, and that division.
Mhm.
And we are just a divided nation. We are the United States and a divided nation, um,
Okay.
and always have been. You
Mhm.
know, and it's amazing. Again, America is eating itself.
Mhm. Mhm. Well said. And so, on that note, where you say America's eating itself, and I'll say quite literally, because
Quite literally.
obesity, quite literally, obesity has skyrocketed in this nation. It was already very high. However, since the pandemic has come, it has increased even more so. So now that, we're in Michigan and it's cold and there is a system that is sort of set upon us, and we just got 9 inches of snow, and a lot of people are,
Today.
yes, just today. And a lot of people are like, it's cold. I don't want to do anything. I'm tired, but I got to make sure that I keep up with my fitness. What are some things that couples can do, especially to sort of, because we have so much politically going on and so much in terms of media and social media online, and just trying to get a break from your phones? What are some things that couples can do together in terms of fitness?
Well, that's a good question, and very appropriate since we are hovering right around Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day to all, and whatever status, happy Valentine's. So listen, fitness is a it's a necessary journey,
Mm,
um, and I hope that everybody jumps on that train. This COVID situation, the winter time, is hitting everybody around the world, around this country, especially with this winter storm. Um, and sedentary, sitting down a lot, um, you start to pack on a few pounds.
mhm,
Um, what's amazing that if couples working out together, it's a really good thing. Um, the bonding, just bonding, the spending time together, sweating together, uh, creates a little happiness. Hanging out, with each other, a little friendly competition. Um, but one of the things is the bonding,
mm.
um, holding each other accountable. You know, on that day when your partner doesn't feel like doing it, well, become the motivator. On the day that you don't feel like doing it, your partner can become the motivator. And
Mm.
so holding each other accountable um, is definitely one. Um, um, getting sexier together.
There you
Mm,
go.
you know, you start getting appealing together. And listen, it's the bonding. The bonding um, is definitely a plus. Just bringing couples together as as you work out, as you start that fitness journey, as you continue that fitness journey, as you motivate each other to hit goals and hold each other accountable while you do it. Working out together is an amazing thing, and you can alleviate a lot of boredom. You put those headphones on in the gym, you're in your own little world. Take those headphones off and communicate, see what's going on around you, and makes things a little bit better. So I would encourage all couples, try it. You might find out you really, really like it, and it'll keep you together.
So you always tell us lift one foot and then lift another foot and then keep going.
Keep going.
What particular is there a particular exercise that's good for couples to start with? I know walking is one, but it's cold. We don't want to go
Well,
outside.
one for one. Well, for one, walking, you can hold hands and walk together. Um,
There you
so no matter what the weather, keep you a little warmer. Um, but especially when you do floor exercise, you can hold my feet while I do this exercise so my feet don't come up.
Mhm.
Um, hold my hands in this position so that I can do this particular exercise. Many times it's hand me that. Watch me while I do this. Make sure I do this right. Little things like that. Just help bring together. Keep your eye on me. Uh, there's moves that you can do together if you're working off of a video, fitness video. You can dance together. Um, you know, getting in sync. If you ever worked out in front of a mirror and you find out how you do something in sync, oh, one person messes up and now it's a laughable moment. Get right back on it. Starts to bring you together, brings a little happiness and peace to your situation. This COVID situation is hard. It's hard for everybody.
Mhm.
Some of us are cooped up in the house together and can't leave. So one of the things that we can do is start to exercise together, and it just starts to add a little more humor and a little more spice. Um, and then when it's time to get out, when the weather starts to break, then you can get out together. So it's a beautiful thing. Working out together alleviates boredom, brings you closer together, um, holds you accountable, brings a lot of happiness.
Accountability partners. That's always a good thing. So it's still winter. It's cold.
Mhm.
Some of us are still trying to work out inside. What are some things that we can do to keep ourselves toned?
Well, they're not expensive, but you can get one of those over the door trainers.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little strap trainer, has resistance bands. You can hook it to the top of your door, close the door, and now it's stable. You can do many exercises. You can do curls with the resistance band. You can turn around and work your triceps by doing overhead extensions. You can sit on the floor and pull the bands towards you. Um, there are many different exercises, and a lot of them will come with instructions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but over the door trainers are one. Um, for anyone who has the space for a punching bag, a stand-up punching bag. Um, they're a little bit more expensive, and you have to fill them with water or sand. Um, but if you have the space and time, get one. Get some gloves, and take that aggression out when necessary. Turn it into a fun exercise. Put on those headphones and let those hands go. Let those feet go. Get one that you can kick. Um, there's small dumbbells, but and resistance bands work very well, especially for tight spaces where you can just put a resistance band around your leg and you
Mm-hmm.
can walk sideways down your hallway. You can put
Ah, okay.
you can put resistance bands around around your wrists and open your arms. Those are small exercises that you can do. You can put that resistance band, put one foot inside the loop of that resistance band, and then pull it up and do some curls and small exercises like this, and then they will expand. So there's nothing that's impossible. When the winter time is over and the sun comes out, do your best to get outside and get to moving. Walk. Walk where you can go. If you don't need to use your car, walk there.
Mm-hmm.
There are
So,
many things we can do.
and those are good suggestions. So I want to go back to, because I've seen this and I actually have one. I haven't used it yet. But the exercise band that goes around, is it your thighs? So you walk sideways down the hallway. Is that how that goes?
You can do that. Do a slight squat.
Ah, why you do
Do
each one?
do a slight squat and stay in that squat and just move sideways. Okay.
Ah,
Now
okay.
you're working your outer thighs, outer hips. You're working your inner thigh. So those are your adductor and abductor muscles. Okay. Now, as you work those muscles, you work step to the left as you go down the hall one direction, and then go to the right to the other direction. Okay. And you can do this a few times. Turn it into 3 sets. So do it 3 times. May take you 10 steps. So that's 3 sets of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Take Drop it a little further down to your ankle. Lean against the wall. And now try to open your feet, open your legs, try to kick to the side. Again, we're still working those adductor muscles
Mhm.
and abductor muscles, but now we're isolating one leg at a time. Okay.
Mhm.
Lean against the wall with two hands and kick backwards with that same resistance band. And now you're working your glutes, which is your butt, your hamstrings, your upper hips. You're working a lot of muscles just by doing those simple exercises.
Very good. So what about is it kettlebell, kettlebell?
Kettlebell. Kettlebell.
Kettle, yes, kettlebell. What about those? Do you
The
recommend that
kettlebells.
people?
Kettlebells are wonderful.
Okay.
Kettlebells are wonderful. The there is a certain technique to using a kettlebell. Okay,
Mhm.
you can use it with one hand or two hand.
Mhm.
But what the special thing about a kettlebell, it's a weight with a handle. Okay,
Mhm.
and with this handle, you can now swing that handle or swing that weight. So one of the most popular exercises is to get into a slight squat
Mhm.
and swing that kettlebell between your legs and then bring it up. Bring it up to about face level and
Okay.
swing it back between your legs and bring it up again. Kettlebell swing.
Okay.
Okay. You can do
Okay.
this with one hand or you can do it with two, depending on the weight, depending on your on your ability. But that works your legs, your lower body. That works your upper body. That works your back. It's a full body exercise. So you get chest work. You get arm work with your biceps and your triceps. You get shoulder work. You get ab work by holding your abs as you do the exercise correctly.
Mhm.
So it's a it's it's a great exercise. It's a great full body exercise. Now you don't need a lot of equipment to work out.
Mhm.
Push ups, sit ups. If you have kettlebells, the kettlebell swings. If you have some small dumbbells, doing doing curls, bicep curls, these things, shoulder presses. You can work your full body with not a lot of equipment. If you want to get into more equipment for the home, again, I suggest one of those over the door resistance band trainers. There's many different brands that make them, but you can find a good one that would be able to handle your fitness ability.
What about, I believe it is it the where you stand against the wall, you're supposed to do a squat. What is that called?
A wall sit.
Yes.
I mean,
What is that good for? What is that good for? I hear people talk about it. I'm like, well, what is it good for?
well, it's a stability exercise. So
Okay.
helps with your balance, of course. But you just stand up against, or you put your back up against the wall and slide down until you're in a seated position.
Mhm.
And now all the muscles in your legs are gonna hold you up against that wall.
Okay.
So now from your glutes down to your thighs, your hamstrings, and the muscles in your quadriceps or the quadriceps, your four muscles in the top of your thigh, down to your calves, your Achilles. It works it all. All right. So that's your lower body. Now you can add even more with your upper body by holding your arms out,
Mhm.
your arms straight out. So now you're going to stabilize those ab muscles,
Mhm.
those chest muscles, those shoulder muscles. It's going to be good for your back. You keep your head against the wall. So your back and your back is straight up against the wall and you just hold that seated position. Get down on the floor and do a plank.
Mhm.
And with the plank, it's the top of your push-up position. You just hold yourself up on your hands and your toes. Now keep your body straight as possible. Hold your abs, hold your abs in so your body is straight. Hold your back straight. And if you can't hold yourself up on your hands, well, drop down to your elbow and support your body. These body weight exercises are great and they're full body exercise.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay, last
Combine,
one.
yes.
I'm sorry. Burpees. Explain burpee is a full body, and it's funny because my kids in their gym classes, that's what they've been doing. They've been doing burpees.
Okay. Well, burpee. Um, well, let's start. You're in a standing position. Now you go down to the floor into a push-up position. Okay.
Mhm.
You touch the floor and then you jump back up. Now you get up as quickly as possible. Okay. Now, again, according to your fitness level, you go down to the floor, you get back up as soon as possible, a small jump. And then you go back down to the floor, get back up as soon as possible, a small jump. So that's what a burpee is. Now, you want to get down on the floor and get up as fast as possible, hit the ground and get up. Um, some people will get down into a full prone position. And as soon as they do, they jump back up.
Okay.
It's not the easiest exercise. I mean, it's a lot more challenging. Uh,
Mhm.
However, it's a great full body exercise. Um, it's one of those to set your goal to.
Okay.
Okay. Um, as we age, a lot of us don't want to get down on the ground. We just don't want to get down on the ground. We don't want to fall. We don't want to crawl. We don't want.
Mhm.
If you fell, that you could get back up.
Mhm.
So getting down and getting back up. I mean, that's a great exercise. Um, your push-ups, your sit-ups, many of your stretches will
Mhm.
involve you getting down on the floor.
Mhm.
So embrace it and find a space where you're comfortable getting down on the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. You have been very educational in making sure that we understand the different exercises and the benefits of working out together. Tell us how we can reach you, how we can find you, where you are on social media, all that good stuff.
Eric Harp 9 at gmail.com, ESQ360, and all your other platforms. It's a pleasure working with you. Um, I appreciate you, and I hope that anybody who's listening gets the opportunity to open that door to fitness and just begin that journey. Take one step and put it in front of the other, and you'll find out that this is a little fun.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hart, for coming on and encouraging us, even in our deep winter, cold, freezing. Yes, I said all those things, weather, because it's real in Michigan. But we appreciate you for coming on the show, and it's always great to have you as a guest on. Thank you so much for coming. We hope to see you next month, where I know you'll have another exciting fitness topic for us.
And I'm sure there'll be some political something that's going to keep us involved until then.
Yes, because I am sure there will be something. Thank you guys for watching the Kim B. Davis Show. I hope you'll join us for our next episode. And as always, remember, be magnificent.